Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave, and of course numerous side projects, and now the Prophets of Rage. Now, Tom, some people might say that this is kind of like Rage Against the Machine light. Aside from three other members, what makes Prophets of Rage so much different than Rage Against the Machine?
I mean, if anything, I'd call it Rage Against the Machine heavy, because it's got Chuck D and Be Real in it, two of the greatest MCs of all time, and the people who were the formative influence on Rage Against the Machine. So, if anything, I think I would differ with that. The way you described it. Yeah, Prophets of Rage is, myself and Tim and Brad from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave, and Chuck D from Public Enemy, Be Real from Cypress Hill, and we're a band that's, we're here to, destroy mosh pits across the world, frankly.
I think it's more of the, that crazy angst-ridden Zach De La Rocha. I mean, he was almost like a Tasmanian devil, not only on stage but in the studio. I have to say, congratulations, Tom, on the new album. It comes out on Friday, September the 15th.
Thanks so much.
Listen, man,
we're very excited about it.
I know what they tell us on the news, and what the Trump administration says, but you've always been kind of politically minded. What would you say is the number one threat to the USA right now?
Oh, I mean, while there are a myriad of threats from, but I think impending environmental disaster is one that we see on the news every day, and the fact that we have to, in the year 2017, we have to argue about whether science is real is pretty idiotic. And for the short-term gain of a few oil companies, they're willing to sacrifice the planet, and that is something that, frankly, we can't allow.
Right now,
and so but in anything, whether it's environmental disaster, whether it's economic inequality, whether it's racism and neo-fascism, those things don't change on their own. The world is not going to change itself. That's up to you. We have to. If we're going to do anything, I would say as a mantra, let's un-F the world.
Okay, I like that. And kind of the first little song tidbit, the musical tidbit that we heard from Prophets of Rage. So, okay, here's the $1 million question. How in the hell do we fix North Korea?
Well, that one, I mean, frankly, North Korea is one of the problems that we and the listeners probably have less control over than some of the other ones, because that's another country. We've got enough problems in our country that I think that we should be addressing, from the disgusting economic inequality to, an administration that is cozying up with some of the worst racist people around. So
right.
I think it's really important that people not leave their convictions behind in what it is that they do. And we're musicians, first and foremost. Our job is to make a record that kicks your ass. Our job is to play a show that destroys the crowd. We don't leave our beliefs and our feelings behind in making those records and in playing those shows. And nor should you leave your convictions behind in whatever it is that you do.
Now, do you think that with the divisiveness that is the current climate in the country, that we'll see another civil war here in the USA in the next decade?
I do not anticipate that. We do see there is a constant class war going on of the rich against the poor, though, and that's been going on for a long time, and I think it's time that we fight back.
Now, do you ever see a future between you and Zach?
Zach and I are good friends. We don't need a future. We have a present.
No, I get that. I'm talking about getting together and working on a project, whether it's Rage Against the Machine or something maybe completely different.
Right now he's been working on a solo record, and he's one of my, whether I've been in the band with him, the stuff we've done together and the stuff he's done on his own is spectacular, and I'm looking forward to hearing whatever it is that he comes out with. So
Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and of course now Prophets of Rage and Audio Slave. Who would win in a street fight, a Les Paul player or a Strat player?
Let me tell you, if you're a Les Paul player or a Strat player and you're wasting your time in a street fight rather than rocking fools in the mosh pit, then you probably should give your guitar away to somebody who's actually going to play it.
Hey, Tom, tell me what Chris Cornell did for you from a musical sense.
Sure. I mean, well, Chris is one of the greatest singers is the greatest singer of his generation, as well as a brilliant songwriter, melody crafter, and just the honor of being in a band with that guy. And here's the thing that he brought out in Tim and Brad and I was Rage Against the Machine music kind of subscribed to the James Brown formula where it always just hits hard on the one. Chris allowed us to expand our musical palette to incorporate chord progressions, and his melody could follow any musical direction that we went in. So that really helped us as players, and he'll be forever missed.
Who's your best friend?
That would be my missus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great answer. I would say the same thing in my family. Okay.
Yeah.
The flip side of that, who's your number one enemy? Who's the number one enemy in Tom Morello's crosshairs?
Geez, what's the top disc jockey at your rival station?
We don't have any rival stations, man. We beat them all. Literally, we beat them all. Okay, what?
Jeez, you beat all. Well, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
My number one enemy would be Radio Monopoly.
Okay, I get that, man, and we are certainly not that.
I don't know. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we're a very small family-owned company, but I agree with you on that. You're not wrong with that, Tom.
No, I'm just joking. I don't care. You guys do whatever you want.
Listen, man, I know you got to jump. I've got one final question for you, and this could go in a myriad of different ways. If you had $1 million today and had to donate it right now, where would that go? That's an easy question to answer, because we have, at every one of our Prophets of Rage shows, we have a social justice charity partner, and we work with homeless shelters and food banks around the country. So if I had that $1 million today, it would go to the whatever the one is for tonight. I believe it's called organization called Why Hunger in New York City. And where can we find that online? Just Google Why Hunger. And the letter Y or W-H-Y? W-H-Y. W-H-Y Hunger, yeah. Tom Morello, Prophets of Rage, congratulations on the new album. So nice to speak with you. You're such an innovator with the guitar and what you do musically, and it's a real privilege to have a chance to chat with you for a bit, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Record out September 15th, people.